Welcome to Cannabis Health Radio, a podcast where we share stories from people around the world who are using cannabis as medicine. The information is meant to raise awareness about the health benefits of cannabis, but should not be taken as medical advice. Now, here are your hosts, Ian Jessup and Corey Yelland.
Welcome once again. This is episode 238 of Cannabis Health Radio. I'm Ian Jessup.
And I'm Corey Yelland.
About 80% of all breast cancer diagnoses are what are described as invasive ductal carcinoma. It's a cancer that begins growing in a milk duct and has invaded the fibrous or fatty tissue of the breast outside of the duct. Breast cancer is the most frequent cancer among women, affecting more than 2 million women worldwide each year. And joining us today to tell her story of dealing with breast cancer is Maria Fassbender of Campbell River, British Columbia, Canada. Maria, thank you very much for doing this.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Maria, when were you diagnosed with breast cancer?
Well, actually, I don't go to the doctor. And then I'm from Alberta. And then we moved here in 2014. So I have a new doctor. And then, last October of 2017, my doctor asked me if I went to a mammogram. And I'm like, no, I've never done that before. So he told me to go. And then after a few days, he told me that come to the office because he wanted to talk to me in person. I'm like, oh, is this serious? But he doesn't want to talk to me. So I went to the office and he told me he had a bad news to me. And I'm like, what kind of bad news? And he said, you have diagnosed with breast cancer. I'm like, oh, I did not really feel like I'm scared or worried or anything. Haven't sink into me yet. And I just say, oh. And then after that, he asked me, so when do you want to go for your surgery? I'm like, what? That's so fast. I'm like, no, I'm just going to think about it first. And then after that, so I went to work. And so as soon as I went to work, I go straight to our computer. So I was Googling about my diagnosis. It says invasive ductal carcinoma. So I was Googling about that. And then they did not even know if it's stage 1 or stage 2, since like they are just guessing about it. And then after that, I'm like, oh, well. And then they were saying that they are, chemotherapy and radiation and stuff like that. So I'm Googling chemo and radiation. And then the side effect, it was really, really bad. And then while I'm doing it, so I'm doing that and I find out about the side effects. It's going to kill me instead of, So, and then Cannabis Health Radio keep popping into the screen. So I keep X that and keep X because I'm not interested in cannabis. Because honestly, I don't know about marijuana yet. I never smoke about it. I heard about it, but I'm not really interested in knowing about it because I'm not into it. So I have no clue. And then while I'm doing my research, I can't really read what I'm going to read because of this cannabis health radio keep popping up. And I'm like, so I went home frustrated. And I opened my laptop. And then I read about it. And again, Cannabis Health Radio is on the screen. So I'm like, oh, shit, just read it. And then Corey and Ian was there. And I'm like, who is these people? And then after that, there's a lot of video in there. It put me into the link. And then the first one, it was a lady from Alberta that she was a nurse. And she had that. So
Paula.
Yes, that's the one. And also Barb. She's from Alberta.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh, right.
and moved
Yeah.
to BC. So I hooked into that video. I watched about that video. Everything, even it's not breast cancer, I watched about it. And I'm like, this is interesting. So I'm like, you know what? It seems like they are doing pretty good. Well, I might as well die high and happy if I'm going to die. You know what I mean? So I don't know about it, but I'm doing my research and I'm like, well, I'm going into it. No one will stop me. This is my path I'm going to. And then, but I went for surgery on November 2nd just to take the worry away. So I went for mastectomy. Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Was this a
Yes.
full mastectomy, Maria?
Yes. Yeah, I just want that to remove just to give me a peace of mind.
Yeah.
And since like my doctor was so happy about it, and then so I after that, uh, when I come out from, and actually when my doctor touched my breast to look for the lump, they couldn't find any lump. I just went to mammogram and then the ultrasound. They cannot, since like there's problem in there, and then they sent me to ultrasound, and then the ultrasound say, oh yeah, there's a problem in there. That's the reason why. And then they sent me to biopsy, and they were saying, yeah, I have breast cancer. But anyway, after that, so I went for my surgery on November 2nd, 2017. And then I did not really feel any pain or anything, nothing. And yet the first lady told me that, oh, she was in so much pain. I'm like, oh, really? So I was so scared because I thought I'm going to do the same thing. So she went straight to chemo and radiation. And I'm like, I'm not into it. So and then they sent me to Victoria to see my oncologist. And when my oncologist said, oh, she want me to put into radiation and chemo and tamoxifen. Tamoxifen is free for 5 years. So I'm like, oh, okay. But I told her that I'm just gonna take tamoxifen, but I'm not gonna go to chemo and radiation. And since like she sounds really upset because I say no, and I'm like, and she said, what is your decision? What, you know? And I'm like, well, I decide to go to cannabis. And she said, there is no study about cannabis that will help you. And I'm like, well, this is my decision and no one will stop me. And if something happened, it's my fault. So I blame nobody but myself. And since like she slumped the paper in front of me on on the table, and I'm like, oh, okay. Just I think just to make her happy, I say I'll take tamoxifen for 5 years. And she said, yeah, it's free anyway. And it's just like she's not really um it's just like she's upset. I don't understand why she's not like, she should be there and make comfort of me because I have this disease. So and I'm like, okay, I'll take that tamoxifen. So but anyway, and then she prescribed me tamoxifen, and I have to pick that up in Campbell River Hospital. So before we went home, I picked that up, and then on the way home, I mean, when we were at home, I said, "Where's my tamoxifen? Where did I put it?" And I couldn't find it. Honestly, I couldn't find where did I put it. And since like even the kids, we turned the house upside down, we couldn't find it. And at the same time, I'm well, I don't know where did I put it. But in a way, before that, I go to the website about cannabis and I order a lot of Rick Simpson CBD oil. I don't even know what is the dosage or anything. I just order it and take it.
Do you mean
But
Rick
of course,
Simpson THC oil?
yeah,
Yeah,
and
THC.
then
Okay.
yeah, and then after that, I said I have to make sure that I'm doing good. So I Google it again about cannabis doctor, and the link goes to MCRCI. And then after that, I have the MCRCI. I Skype to the doctor, and he want the whole record of my medical record. So I went to the doctor's office and he doesn't want to sign. So of course I have to pay 180 something just to get all my medical record and send it to MCRCI. And then they study my case and yeah, this is what you're gonna use. And actually, it seems like there's three times of trial of my dosage because I get paranoid and not happy. And then the doctor changed that again till I have my dosage that I'm actually happy in eating good and sleep through the night, which is never happened to me, sleep through the night because, I have four jobs and seems like, yeah. And not only that, I think I have so much stress in my life
Mm-hmm.
that's maybe caused breast cancer.
So, Maria, you started taking cannabis, but you didn't take the tamoxifen.
No, never.
Okay.
I found the tamoxifen when I already taken cannabis oil.
You
It's
know,
just
you got to wonder about that, hey? Whether that was just
yes,
meant to be that way, because for all of you to turn that house upside down and not be able to find it, you
all right.
know?
But honestly, it's just under the bed. It's right into my foot. But why I never see it?
Where it should be.
So I'm like, wow. I'm like, wow. There's universe. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. So how much cannabis oil were you doing?
I really don't know. I
Mm.
just take it.
Okay, so you
Uh,
took you started taking it what, 3 times a day or?
I was doing it like yeah, three times a day. One night and then before bedtime and before breakfast and at lunch. Yes, and before that I was taking like I don't know, like I don't like the taste, so I have to put a bunch of milk and chocolate in there. But and then after that I have the dosage from MCRCI. So yeah, since then I never miss a day taking it.
Did the doctors want you to have chemo and radiation?
Oh yes, definitely. They want me to. And actually, my doctor, my my family doctor, told me that there is no study about cannabis that will help me. I'm like, well, I don't really want to argue with you, doc, but this is my decision, and whether you like it or not, I want to get my medical record. And yeah,
So
so
they,
and then also my oncologist are sounds upset because I don't want to go into it.
yeah, we hear that a lot from people who are encouraged by their medical doctors to take chemo and radiation. And when the patient tells them that they're going on to cannabis, they always say there aren't enough studies
Or
or
there
there
aren't
aren't
any
any studies
studies.
proving
Yeah.
that it works. Any studies. And there
Yeah.
are literally hundreds and hundreds of studies showing it works. Going all the way back
Mm-hmm.
to 1974, I think the U.S. government
I know.
had a study that showed that cannabis kills cancer, and because of that, the study was shut down.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Yeah, I read about that in my research too. And and the thing is, the lady that ahead of me, she took chemo and radiation and tamoxifen. We are the same um case, and
Diagnosis?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, we are the same diagnosis, and yet she's going downhills and here I am. I'm like, I feel like I'm a teenager. Even the look of me right now, it's
Yeah,
like
she does. She
wow,
does look
I
like a
look,
teenager, and
I
I
know
saw
I
her
look
on
too young.
video the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, your friend there. That story repeats itself all the time. In fact, at midnight last night, I was talking with somebody whose friend's just gone downhill. Same story, and
Hmm.
she's been out, I think, 3 or 4 months from chemo and radiation, and now it's back with a vengeance. And now
Oh
she's
my god.
stage 4, and that's the end, beginning of the end. It's just,
Yeah. Oh, that's scary.
it is
And
scary. Yeah.
yeah, and now I think for the cancer, I'm not really sure about it, but I think it's for you to love yourself. Because last time sounds like I'm neglecting myself. I keep working, doing so much overtime, and not eating good. And then I think the universe said, you know what, Maria? I'll give you a reason to straighten your life. I want you to
Mm-hmm.
love
Yeah,
yourself. And
yeah.
now it's just like I'm doing really, really good. Although I'm in processing of my divorce right now, which is, I think that is the best happened in my life.
Like, well, new beginning.
A new beginning. And now, since I'm taking that cannabis oil and CBD oil, I'm not craving about junk food anymore.
That would not be
Now,
the first time we've heard that, because it creates,
yes,
yeah, it creates homeostasis in your system, and you just tend to want and crave different things that are more healthy for you.
yes.
When
And
did you,
that's
Maria? When did you get the all clear?
well, I really don't know if I'm clear, but it says in there my oncologist last time said there is no sign of cancer, but I have a naturopath's doctor, so I go there every 6 months to do my blood test. And because honestly, Corey, I work in healthcare, but I don't trust them. I don't trust the doctors. I don't know why, but they have so much mistakes that
Right.
I can't really put myself in there. Even my kids, I don't. So it's like I don't want my kids to go to the doctor. So yeah, I I can't blame myself. I work in healthcare, and yet this person get diagnosed like this, and then realize later that's not the case. So I don't want to go there. So yeah, I just and not only that, if I get diagnosed like breast cancer again, I'm not gonna go through um um chemo and radiation anyway. So why go there? I might as well stay in cannabis. If I die, I'm sure I die happy for this one. I die going to heaven.
Well, you're
So
getting a report, or you're being told that there's no sign of cancer. I'd say that's pretty darn good.
yeah, that's it says in here on my paper. There is no sign of evidence of cancer. So
Now, when
yeah,
I met you in Vancouver, do you remember that in the washroom I ran into
yes,
you at that
of
conference I
course.
was speaking at? You
Mm-hmm.
had just got some report back. Was that when they had said to you that there
Yeah,
was no sign?
yes, that's
Okay.
actually my doctor.
All right.
Yes, because he also want to find out about anything, and then he told me no call is no news is a good news.
No
That
news
what
is
he
good news.
said.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was like about 3 months now, and I'm like, why he is not calling me? So I called them. I went to the office. I'm like, Doc, I just wondering if you got the results of my um test, and he said, yes, I got it. And I'm like, yeah, I never heard from you. And he said, yeah, no news is the good news. And I'm like, so that's mean I had no cancer, did not spread or anything. And said, uh, I believe not. So you're good to
Great.
go.
What
And
did
I'm like,
Maria, what did your kids think of you doing cannabis?
oh, well, I talk to the kids about it, and my kids are very, very smart. They are very, very open about it. So, and they told me, you know what, mom, whatever make you happy, I'm happy. Which is, because I told the kid, if something happened, I don't want to blame anyone but myself. And they said, yeah, that's true, mom. So, and then, of course, um, every time I watch cannabis health radio on YouTube, the kids are beside me, and they say, "Oh wow!" And then there was a time they were saying, "Are you high, mom? You keep giggling and eating." I'm like, "No." It's just like we're cooking again. I'm like, I'm hungry again, and yes, actually, I gained weight. I look so good, and now I doing this juice. I have like a rainbow.
Yeah.
It's like beets juice and then carrots juice and then cantaloupe, you name it. It's all the juice that in the world. I have that. So that's what I'm drinking first thing in the morning.
That's
which is so good.
yeah.
And now it's just like I can't go back to coffee anymore because of this juice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's an amazing story. When you first started taking cannabis, I think you mentioned early on when you were talking to us that you were a bit paranoid.
At first, yeah, because I think it's different dosage. Instead of um, my doctor said he did not tell me, but at the end he said, okay, maybe we should put you into indica because that will make you relax and there's no hyper whatever high psychoactive thing. So I get right now my thing is here is 50 one in one of CBD and THC
THC. Hmm.
indica. Yeah, I have that.
Well, whatever you're doing, whatever you're getting, seems.
Actually, my THC here it's 10.1 and the CBD is 10.0. So THC is
It's a one.
higher than.
It's a 1-to-1 ratio by the sound of it that you're on.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
So how often do you take that a day?
I just took it every time I go to bed.
Yeah. So
I
you're on a
just
maintenance dose.
yes,
Yeah.
and I would love to. And not only that I love it. I love the sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because now I don't since I I took my husband from I'm the one paying all the bills and stuff like that, struggling with four jobs. Now I just only have one full-time job and I don't take that much overtime because I don't have that much bills anymore. And so if I take this, I sleep through the night and I shut off my phone and it feels so good in the morning and then get up, drink my celery juice and then go run and got lots of energy.
Well, it's amazing what cannabis has done for you. You've gotten rid of 3 jobs, a husband, and you feel better.
Yeah, you know, right? it, I think when I really don't feel insecure that I just only have one boob because to me that was a blessing. So whatever the universe give it to me, I take that as a blessing. I I feel like I don't get upset. I don't get mad. I I always happy.
Yeah. You
Since like
look at life differently, I think.
I know I saw my picture from a few years ago, like 2017,
Hmm.
compared to my picture now. My skin actually was really, really different than before. And my outlook in life now, I'm just like I'm always happy. Yeah, it's just cannabis really bring me to the fullest of my life right now. It's make me the best person I ever before.
That
That's
is,
why I keep taking it, and my health is the best right now. And since like no matter what happens, I never complain. Yeah,
yeah, that's great, Maria. Where do you think you'd be if that annoying cannabis health radio didn't keep popping up when you were doing your
oh,
initial research?
I really don't know. Honestly, if there's universe, I will follow
Hmm.
where they're going to bring me.
Hmm.
But since like the universe really brought me into you guys, and then since then, it make me, you know, put into myself that this is it. This is what the universe want me to do because that tamoxifen just right into my foot when I stood up while I'm already using uh cannabis oil. So that's weird.
Yeah, that was an interesting story. I
It
mean,
was.
there's so many synchronicities in this that how Cannabis Health Radio popped up when you were doing research and
I
you
know.
researched in cannabis. The tamoxifen, when you were looking for it, couldn't be found, and
And
it was
right
just
there.
the universe was guiding you.
Definitely. Definitely. That what I told everybody. And sometimes I have goosebumps about it. That's why if something happened into my life, like there's, oh man, there's another problem coming, I'm just gonna say to my life, you know what? This is it. You have to face it. Don't let go. Just face it. You don't need to fight it. Just love what is going on. Because if you fight it, you are not gonna win. But if you just let it go, you're gonna win because you're gonna love it. It's just like what I did to myself. I don't wanna fight over breast cancer. This is what maybe going to do to love myself, to get rid of what's I don't need in my life. And yeah, since I use cannabis oil, since like my mind, my outlook in life turned different.
You mentioned a very
I
interesting,
don't get frustrated.
Maria. You mentioned a very interesting thing about loving yourself. I was watching a video of Bruce Lipton, who, how would you describe him? He's a biologist who says when he has events around the world, one of the things he notices is that 90% of the people don't love themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, you've got to love yourself before you can love anyone else or love anything.
Exactly.
And I think that's, in your case, that's very true, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because last time it's like, I just eat whatever junk food's in there. I go to drive through just to get it easy and go to another job and yet still not happy, still short of money. And then since then I'm like, wait a minute. Maybe the universe say, okay, Maria, wait a minute. I gonna give you a reason to, straighten yourself. You're gonna go home. You're gonna stay there. Supposed to be, I supposed to stay for six months, but I only stay for 3 months because I felt so good. First time I went home, there's no food, so I have to cook my food. I'm carrying my grenades, and my husband, my ex, which is giving me a hard time. Um, he should be there in my, to comfort me, to support me, to love me in my very, very lowest emotion in my life. But no, instead he's mean to me. Like, but you know me, I don't yell, I don't scream, and I just cry. And actually I developed a pain in my side, and so that was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and it was so painful. I'm like, oh my god, this is it. This is another cancer. So that's in my mind because they say once you have cancer, your body is easy to collect cancer. So at 2 o'clock in the morning, he drove me to the hospital. So they did everything and they couldn't find it. They couldn't find it. And I'm like, Doc, there's something wrong in there. And it's so painful. I can't even put my socks on. And then he talked to me and I told my ex, just stay in your vehicle and I'll deal with the doctor. And he said, okay, fine. And the doctor said, how's your stress level at home? Oh, I just burst to cry. I can't answer that, but cry and cry and cry. Till the doctor said, yeah, I think that's a stress related. And yeah. And then they say it's like they find something in there. So they want to put some machine into my buttholes, whatever, and to see what's going on in there. And then at that time, they want me to call my husband. And he said, yeah, just go for surgery. I'm like, no, I'm not going to go for surgery. I'm going to die before I go surgery. And then and then he said, okay, what happened to you? It's your fault. I'm like, yeah, it's my fault. And then after that, because at home he told me, you know what? Let's find a lawyer and get a freaking divorce. I'm like, really? I'm I just finished my surgery, and this is what you have to tell me. But anyway, of course, I was so scared. I was so worried about my life, and after
And
that, I feel like
you know,
everything collapsed. because of him giving me a hard time. And then I realized, you know what, this is not worth living here. So I packed my things, went to Campbell River, and called my friends if I can stay to her place. And she said, yeah. And then after a week, it felt so good. I don't have stress. I eat right and I sleep good. And I think that house with him is a stressful life for me.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Maria. Stress can be the major cause of many, many illnesses. It was wonderful to talk to you. I know you were a little nervous when we started, but you did a fantastic job. Thank you, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, good luck in the future.
Yeah, good luck.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye now.
Okay, I want to read a testimonial that we got from Peter in Australia. And Peter kindly donated money to Cannabis Health Radio, which we greatly appreciate. And you can donate if you'd like. You can go on Patreon and donate, or you can go on Cannabis Health Radio and make a small donation to help Corey and I keep this, which we think is important work, in front of the world, because we have been heard in 88 countries around the world.
Yeah, and we'd sure like to keep it up and running, but it takes a bit to do that. So.
Yeah. And Peter sent us a donation. I sent him a thank you on behalf of Corey and I, and he sent this back, which I think was wonderful. I want to read it to you. He says, "It's my pleasure to assist your important work. You are changing the world and saving precious lives with every interview you publish. Please don't stop. The sickness industry, fostered by the greed of multinational pharmaceutical companies, must be revealed for what it is to the world. Voices such as yours are beacons of hope and healing for many families who have been failed by the present medical system based on money, artificial drugs, and blinkered thinking. I look forward to each and every podcast. Let me know if I can ever be of help. Kind regards, Peter." Peter in Australia, we thank you very much. And we'd also like to thank Ron Zahar of Rowan Sound in Victoria for being our producer and donating his studios to us. And we'd also like to give a shout out to Mark in Belgium, who posts our podcasts on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And without either Mark and Ron, we couldn't do this.
No, we couldn't. And thank you to both of them.
We thank both of them from the bottom of our heart. And we'll listen to you, and you'll listen to us next time on Cannabis Health Radio.
Thanks for listening to Cannabis Health Radio. For more information and to search previous podcasts, visit our website, cannabishealthradio.com. Subscribe so you don't miss new episodes. And follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. This podcast is made possible by donations from our listeners. If you found the information helpful, please consider making a donation in any amount through our website. You can also help us share our message by leaving a review on your podcast listening platform. We are very grateful for your support. Thank you.